Welcome back to Voices of Influence, the podcast with Chris Madrigal. Today, I will share chapter 1 of what I'm calling my Mini Audiobook Series, composed of 5 chapters I've published over the last couple of years. And I Honor You is the first chapter I wrote where I became an international best-selling author. This story is a journey that changed me as a person and the way I see life all the way around. Enjoy. I honor you. You're having twin girls. I was excited, but still trying to process the health concerns the doctor shared minutes prior to the gender reveal. The doctor exited the room. I was puzzled. It was supposed to be an exciting day, but my excitement quickly turned to worry. My husband looked at me and said, "You wanted a girl, you get 2, and they can go through this together." What did go through this together even mean? We had no idea the journey we were about to embark, let alone everything God had planned for our family. My heart felt heavy. We were worried. I kept hearing on repeat, they both have a pelvic kidney. Their umbilical cord only has one artery. It could be something or it could be nothing. What did that mean? We quickly learned a single artery umbilical cord meant they could both have a congenital heart defect. My heart sank deeper. I wanted answers, yet our girls' hearts were too small to detect anything. I was only 4 months pregnant. 4 weeks later, we walked into the same examining room. The scans began and the silence felt heavy. I asked how everything looked, but the nurse would not respond. Tears began to flow. Deep inside, I knew the answer. The doctor walked into the room and confirmed my biggest fear. Both girls showed congenital heart defects and would require open heart surgery upon birth. I felt like I couldn't breathe, as if someone punched me in the stomach and I could not recover from it. The next step was 2 rounds of amniocentesis tests to check for fetal abnormalities or birth defects. That day, I walked into the doctor's office with a glimmer of hope and left in a wheelchair in deep physical and emotional pain. Our journey continued to evolve from that day forward. The journey. I suffered from anxiety since my early teenage years, and it was heavy and present. How on earth was I to manage what life had thrown at us? We were still navigating life as new parents. Our son was only 18 months at that time. I thought to myself, I'm still learning how to be a mother. Only now I would be a mother of twins that required a great level of attention. There were days I lived in a fog. The excitement to grow our family had turned to worry, fear, doubt, and I questioned if I was suited for the challenge. Until I got a flashback. I got a memory of the moment I sat on my couch days prior to our son's birth. As I watched a television show on families of children with special needs, I recall vividly what I told myself. If God ever gave me a child with special needs, I would be an amazing mother. In that moment, I knew God had delivered a special message to me in advance. From that day on, I knew I was equipped for the journey. The fear was unreal. It was overwhelming. It was stressful beyond anything imagined. I tried to keep my head above water, but the waves of information kept pulling me under. My husband's brother-in-law was a pediatrician. So naturally, we consulted with him first. I vaguely remember our conversation. I was in deep daze and simply looking for reassurance. Within his spoken words was a message that changed my life. The anomalies present in our daughters were out of my control. I did not cause them. And the only thing I could control was my mind, my stress, my anxiety. My job was to remain calm. Otherwise, my stress and anxiety would directly harm our daughters. From that day forward, I had one job, and that was to manage my mind. I knew if I wavered, I would harm my daughters, and they were already fighting their own battle in the womb. So I accepted the challenge. I became the master of my mind. It was a mind game after all. Every appointment felt heavier. The pelvic kidneys, the congenital heart defects, the second opinion, the third opinion. Everything led us to a 22q deletion syndrome diagnosis. I cried after every new diagnosis, questioning my ability to carry out this mission, even though I was equipped for the journey. After every appointment, I allowed myself to feel all the feels for 72 hours. I would cry until there were no more tears. I would pray until I could not pray anymore. I would write in my private blog and asked our prayer warriors for support. At the 72-hour mark, I flipped the switch and stepped up to the challenge. We prevailed every time. God was with me, with my family, with us. He never left our side. Delivery day got closer, and that meant I had to leave my husband and son behind to live closer to the hospital where I would deliver the girls. The Lucille Packard Children's Hospital, Stamford, was 3.5 hours away. I resisted the move. I acted as if everything was okay, but landed in the hospital every time I went against my doctor's orders. I was on bed rest for 4 months, and that meant I could not sneak up to my bedroom on the second floor when no one was home and pretend as if nothing happened. My body took care of letting everyone know every time. My doctor finally looked at me and said, "You have to move." I needed to be closer to the hospital I would deliver, but I refused. How could I be 1 month away from my husband and son when I needed them the most? I was finally told if I went into labor at home, I would be airlifted to the hospital and put my daughter's life at risk. That was a breaking point. I packed my bags and moved away 1 month prior to my delivery. I was fortunate. I lived with my brother and sister, but needed my son and husband. That was one of the toughest months I had experienced in life. I was physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted. I cried every night as I told my husband I had no idea how I would get through another day. I could no longer move. I could no longer drive. I was confined to the couch. I felt my power stripped away from me as I patiently sat and waited for delivery day. The survival. It was a beautiful sunny day in July of 2011 when our miracle girls made their entrance to this world. I was scared but full of faith. I had protected them in the womb for nearly 38 weeks. It was time for them to flourish. Our girls were born and swiftly taken to the neonatal intensive care unit. I would not see them again until the next day. While they were attended to in the NICU, the doctor worked on me. I lost a lot of blood during the delivery. I required 2 blood transfusions. I felt perfectly fine. Another testament God was with me and never left my side. We were prepared to be in the hospital for weeks, and 6 days later, we were on our way home. In complete shock and overwhelm, but full of love and gratitude, we drove home. Every day we showed up as the parents we desired to be. We had a vision for our family, and we stayed tethered to that vision. I did not know how things would unfold. I just knew we had complete trust, faith, and belief in God. Appointment after appointment, specialist after specialist, therapy after therapy, and our beautiful girls continued to thrive. My husband is the most amazing partner God placed in my life. His calm demeanor, his soothing voice, his silence when needed all calmed my soul. He always showed up for me and our family as he silently wrestled with his own feelings. My father was a key player in raising our family. He always does everything with so much love. He was the only person who truly understood us. He lived this journey with us. He took care of our children from the day they were born. He is such an amazing man. When presented with the option to return to work after a layoff, he opted for his family and retired to care for his grandchildren. This man exemplified the true meaning of love for a child. Together, we survived our daughter's open heart surgeries. So many feelings as we placed our sedated daughters on the surgeon's arms and watched them drift away. We felt better equipped the second time, but nothing prepares you to see your child after an invasive, life-saving surgery. God was the only comfort I had, and I had complete trust, faith, and belief in Him. Our journey continued. I researched every possible therapy available and signed them up. My husband never questioned it. He simply supported every decision. Everything we did was to allow them to grow up as independent, beautiful ladies. By the age of 12, they had each attended over 500 physical therapy sessions, add another 500 plus therapies composed of occupational, speech, swim, vision, equestrian, feeding, and more. They all worked. Nevertheless, the best teacher we had was at home, Big Brother Gio. Giovanni was not even 2 years old when the girls were born. He did not understand the dynamic of our family. It just was. The love, the playfulness, and encouragement were everything his sisters needed. I hope one day he understands the hero he was and continues to be in our family. Such a kind-hearted, loving boy who did not understand why his sisters needed so much attention, yet carried on as my husband and I shared our time and love with all of them. Life continued, therapies continued, appointments continued as I attempted to have life balance. But all I felt was my life slipping away. As I cared for our 3 children and advocated for our daughters, I stopped living and was simply surviving. I no longer recognized the person in the mirror. I was not the mother, the wife, the sister or daughter I wanted to be. I lost my identity. The wake-up call. I found myself crying in despair. How did I lose control over my life? I played over and over scenes of my life, and I was always an extra. I was never the lead actress in my own movie. I put everyone ahead of me because that is what I was taught. A mother puts everyone ahead of herself, but that thought process broke me to pieces. I no longer wanted to be broken. I wanted to be whole for my family, for my marriage, for me. So in February of 2020, I took the first step and hired a life coach. I was ready to find myself again. Then, 2 weeks later, our lives were turned upside down as we saw the world shut down right before our eyes. We navigated the unknown along with the rest of the world. COVID-19 felt like another wave crashing down on me. It brought the unrealistic job expectations, the mental instability for my family, my own, Everything was spiraling down fast. It was no one's fault. No one wanted to be in this situation. The entire world was just trying to survive. Once again, I had to pivot and focus on my family's well-being, their mental health. Amidst survival, I enrolled in classes and took a deeper dive in the mental health space. There were no therapies available for my daughters, therapy sessions that took an abrupt stop. It was me again, and I had to step it up. As I sat on the couch one afternoon, reading The Highly Sensitive Child, Helping Our Children Thrive When the World Overwhelms Them by Elaine Aron, my boy sat beside me and then said, "I'm a sensitive child." He did not say more and went off. At bedtime, I asked him to elaborate, and his words marked me forever. "Why is it that you always notice other people, but not me?" My heart sank. I could not breathe. I had never felt more like a failure. How could I be pouring all my love and energy to my children, yet my amazing boy felt unseen? How could the boy that captivated my heart with his first breath feel invisible? Where did I go wrong? The conversation that unfolded that evening was beautiful, full of love and compassion. We hugged, and he drifted to sleep as I fell into a river of tears and shame. I was trying to heal, trying to balance life, trying to help my family as the world changed around us. But I failed. I could not see the silver lining, and it weighed heavy in my heart. Months later, a coach acknowledged how comfortable and safe he felt sharing his feelings at night. That was a hidden message. I had instilled trust, love, and comfort for him to share his feelings. That day, I allowed myself to heal from the guilt I carried for so long. I continued with life as I tried to navigate motherhood. By January 2022, COVID-19 reached a peak, and so did I. Work became unmanageable, and so did life. I fell deeper in despair as I tried to fulfill the job expectations. The weekends were supposed to be mine and for my family, yet I found myself working. One Saturday morning, as I was up early to complete some unfinished work, I was consumed with rage and anger. I went to my bedroom in full tears, looked at my husband, and said, "I am so fucking mad. How is it possible that the people I love the most get my leftover energy, which is zero?" That moment, I knew something had to change. In order to change my life, I had to change my mind. I was no longer going to live by default. I was about to design the life I desired. The breakthrough. I took another leap of faith. This time, I was not only going to change my life, but I was also going to change the life of others. I knew the methods for success. I had applied it to raise our children, specifically our daughters. Now, I had to use the same method to help myself and others. I am often asked, how do you do it? How are you able to do so much? My answer for a long time was, I don't know, I just do. That was because I was an unconscious competent on my life. I did not know how my mind worked great for me in certain areas and against me in others. I had already manifested things into my life with the girls because I was open to receive it. Now I had to be open to receive all that God was trying to give me. So I embarked in a new journey and became a certified life and mindset coach. My life was changing drastically as I continued to work with coaches. I saw the world through a different lens, which brought peace, love, and abundance into my life. I continued to change my programming, which changed the way I operated. As the world changed around me, I changed right with it. Suddenly, I was consumed with an abundance of gratitude, love, and appreciation at a conscious level. I began to enjoy my corporate job again. My family appeared happier. I once again felt joy in my heart, and the only person who changed was me. I changed the way I viewed life, and my life, as I knew it, changed right before my eyes. I was transforming, evolving, and ascending to a higher version of myself. I began to change my programming and started to dream again. I envisioned myself as a person with all my goals achieved, and it allowed me to feel the emotions of my deepest desires and goals fulfilled. As I managed my mind, the daily stress, anxiety, and overwhelm began to dissipate, and an overwhelming feeling of peace took over my life. As I brought that peace into my body, it went deep into my heart, and I was open to receive, feel, and experience all the love around me that I was previously blinded to. With a peaceful mind and an abundance of love in my heart, I began to nurture ways to keep those feelings alive. I had to incorporate habits that served me. I had to take care of my vessel, that is to carry me through the rest of my life. And so I focused on my health. I began to quiet my mind through meditations and thank my body with nourishing food and movement. My body had tried to get my attention since 2019, but I could not see it. I had lived in survival mode for the last decade, and my body was outwardly expressing itself. I was breaking out in hives for years without answers. My exhaustion reached burnout, and my blood pressure was at an all-time low. In that moment, I took on a new identity, the identity of Chris, who could heal herself, and my physical healing journey began. My mind, heart, and body were now working together, but there was still a piece missing: spirit. I have always been a person of faith, but when I truly connected to spirit and allowed God to work through me, that is when the quantum leaps began. It is the beautiful synchronicity of your mind, heart, body, and spirit working together to create the life you desire. I always considered myself a God's girl, but never realized that my faith was fear-based. Fear of loss, fear of failure, fear of the unknown, you name it. So my prayers and supplications to God had an underlying sponsoring thought of fear and not love. As I began to release all my fears, love began to take over, and my transformation and conversations with God became deeper. My life has changed. I have transformed. I embraced my identity the moment I found myself again. I am creating myself anew with the love of God and a grateful heart. Life is not a process of discovery, but a process of creation. You are not discovering yourself, but creating yourself anew. Seek, therefore, not to find out who you are. Seek to determine who you want to be. Neil Donald Walsh. I honor and thank you. This life would not be possible without the people who supported us and continue to support us through this journey. I have so much gratitude and appreciation for life, but there are a few people I honor and thank for helping me survive and find the silver lining with their abundance of love and compassion for me. Gio, I honor and thank you for always showing me so much love, compassion, and understanding, even at your young age. You are caring, love, protective, honest, and respectful. You are such a loving and brilliant son and brother. I will always appreciate and respect your thoughts and opinions. Continue to be open and honest with me and yourself for the rest of your life. I love you with every fiber of my being and more than you will ever imagine. Sally and Allie, I honor and thank you for coming into our lives to complete our family. You are both the most incredible warriors I know. You continue to rise to the challenge every time you face difficulty. You always impress me with your strength and ability to do things with ease, even when things are hard. Celeste, always stay curious and brave. Alexia, always stay loving and fierce. I love you both to the moon and back, and more than you will ever imagine. Mom and Dad, there are no words to express our gratitude. You have showed us the true meaning of trust, faith, and belief in God. You exemplify family love. Dad, you have been a true role model and an angel sent to earth to help us fulfill this mission. Mom, thank you for your strength and uplifting messages when I needed them the most. Americo, you continue to leave me speechless. Every day I fall deeper in love with you. I honor and thank you for believing in me, even when I did not believe in myself. Thank you for supporting me in all my wildest ideas, even in the moments when you really wanted to say, "You're crazy." Your message was, "Let's do this." You are my saving grace. 24 years by your side, and I feel like our life is just getting started. Get ready to quantum leap in life, in love, and in everything we continue to do in life and together as a family. Always remember, I still fall in love with you every day. Te quiero un chingo, mi amor. To Chris in 2019. I honor you for your bravery to stand up and recognize you lost and abandoned yourself in motherhood. I always thank you. I will always thank you for discovering the true meaning of self-love, compassion, and forgiveness with oneself. This journey of self-discovery and reprogramming has opened my mind to a world of internal peace, a heart that holds all the love and abundance available to me, a body with the strength to carry me through the rest of my life, and a deep connection to spirit and God that allows me to connect with my higher self to go out and make a difference in the world. My words tell a story, and stories are meant to be told. It is through our stories that we change lives, and my purpose on this earth is to change the lives of Latinos, to help reprogram their minds to achieve breakthrough success in life, while they embrace their identities and release any cultural barriers that hold them back. As a first-generation Mexican-American, youngest daughter of immigrant parents, I help women grow with purpose and become generational change makers. Learn to release the daily stress, anxiety, and overwhelm, and achieve life balance as you discover how your mind, heart, body, and spirit are perfectly aligned to design the life of your dreams. Make the rest of your life the best of your life.